Hi everyone, my name is Serena. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm so tired today. I woke up early, but I have to film this video. It's my April wrap-up. I have read 8 books this month, and I will put on the screen, as per usual, all of the stats that I screenshotted from Storygraph, but I read 2,673 pages, and I have an average rating of 4.3 because I read all 4 and 5-star reads. That's amazing. But let's begin. I read 4 of them were short books, or at least quicker paced books, because I read 2 novellas and 2 books in verse, and the reason why is because I was feeling like I was reading slower than usual, so I needed these books to not get into a reading slump. But let's begin. We have Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars, and it's about this boy whose brother gets shot right in front of him, and there is this unwritten rule between the generations that you have to kill the person who has killed your loved one. You don't talk to the police, you just do it yourself. And in the introduction, we see that shooting happening and him contemplating whether or not he should do this, but there's no question. He feels like he has to do it because everyone before him has done it. So he goes to bed, and then chapter 1 begins. We have I think 7 chapters, and those 7 chapters are set during 1 minute basically, because it's an elevator ride. I don't want to talk about it a lot because, you know, spoilers. It's very fast paced. It's a poetry book in verse, and I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. After that, I read Punching the Air by Ibi Zoboi and Youssef Salaam. This is another book about a black teenager who gets arrested, and he's in jail for a crime he didn't commit. So he's there. We see him get badly treated. We see his rage, but we also see his love for poetry and art. So I really enjoy this one as well. It's in verse, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book that I read was a longer novel, and I read Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is my first V.E. Schwab book. I really enjoyed it. It was also one of my 5-star predictions, and I made that video a long time ago. I have to wrap that up because I'm pretty sure I've read all of them and make a new one, but I was right. It's a 5-star for me. It was also a buddy read with Skylar. I will link her channel down below, and I enjoyed our buddy read because it's fun. It reminded me of X-Men, and it reminded her of The Talented Mr. Ripley. I wanted to watch that movie this month, but I didn't have the time. But I really enjoyed this one. It is about these 2 characters who are friends in college, and they're doing their thesis. One of them is doing their thesis on EOs, extraordinaries, who are people who have superpowers. Now, they think that these people get superpowers because they have a near-death experience, and while they're dying, they have this huge will to live, so they end up not dying, and they wake up with powers. So they decide to experiment this theory on themselves, and, you know, it works, but crazy. These characters are crazy. I could never, obviously, but it made me anxious because, you know, near-death experience means that they're going to harm themselves, and I got nervous. Something happens, and one of them goes to jail. 10 years later, this person gets out of jail, and now they're enemies. So that was so much fun. Obviously, I am on team one of them. Like, I prefer one of them more than the other, and I really enjoyed their little group that they made with Sydney, the dog, Mitch. I enjoyed those characters so much. There's also another character called Serena, and that was weird because, you know, when you see your name in a book, at least for me, it's weird because I don't see that really often. I only think of Serena from Gossip Girl, and I also read a book called Serena. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and as you can tell, the characters don't do good things, like they're vicious, so they're not actually heroes, but I enjoy those type of characters if done well. And also we talked about one of the two characters being a commentary on religion, maybe, but that character was frustrating and a hypocrite. But I really enjoyed this book. I give it 5 stars. After that, I read 2 novellas in the same cycle. I read The Empress of Salt and Fortune and When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Nevo. And I really enjoyed these ones as well. I gave 4 stars to each of them. They're both like 120 pages each. I read them on audiobook because I am ripping off wallpaper in another room, so I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. But this is a story about a cleric called She, I believe, and they're non-binary, so they use the pronouns they, them. They go around the area, the world, and they bring their companion. In the first one it was a bird, and in the second one they had another companion, but they go around the world and they gather stories and they write them down. So in the first one, they meet a handmaiden who was a handmaiden to the Empress of Salt and Fortune, and she is telling Chi the story of this empress, how she became an empress. And the empress was from the north. She gets married off to an emperor in the south, then something happens, she gets exiled, and it's about her getting out of exile, and it's very empowering. I believe I really enjoyed it. The second one, though, is about she going to a mountain, and they get stuck on a mountain with 3 tigers who wants to eat them. But she persuades them to not eat them, and in exchange they want to tell the tigers a story. This story is basically a love story between a tiger and a scholar, and the same story is known by Chi and the humans, and another version of the story is known by the tigers. So it's funny, it's like a back and forth conversation. Chi is telling the story, and then the tigers are like, no, that didn't go that way, it went this way. And it's funnier than the first one. I really enjoyed this one as well, and I, as I said, gave them both 4 stars. I want to reread them at some point physically. Next book that I read was Middlegame by Shannon McGuire. This is a longer book and it's hard to explain, but it's about this character called Reed, who is an alchemist, and he creates these set of twins. The main twins in this story are Dodger and Roger. Dodger is very skilled in math and science, and Roger is very skilled in literature and language, and basically he wants to conquer the world. He wants to conquer this city. The Impossible City, I believe it's called that way. I'm already forgetting names. I'm horrible at names. But they want them to rise to power so he can rise to power, you know? So it's about these 2 twins get separated at birth, they get adopted, but they're still connected in some ways. So we see them grow up and go through high school, college, you know, well on into their 30s, and I really enjoyed this book. It is confusing at times. It like goes back and forth, future, present, past, you know. But I'm going to talk about this book more in a future vlog, so stay tuned for that. The 7th book that I read in April was No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is the 2nd thriller that I read this month. I really enjoyed it. It may be a little bit cheesy, but it was action-packed and I was shocked. I was in bed shocked, like screaming, what? I was excited reading this book basically, and it is about this girl who is in college, I believe, and she is going home for the holidays because her mom is sick, but it is snowing. She's driving through the snow, and at some point she can't go any further and she has to stop at a rest stop, and there are other people at this rest stop, and she is there, she's outside, and all of a sudden she sees a hand through a van window. So she's basically witnessing a kidnapping, and she wants to help this child. At first she's like, did I imagine that? But then it's actually a kidnapping, so she's trying to do something about it, and things happen. It's set during one night, and it's crazy. The first twist that happened really early, and I was like, yes, 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 I knew it, I knew it. But all the other stuff were kind of shocking. It's annoying when most of the twists happen when the character is kind of forgetful, but yeah. Also, why wouldn't you bring your charger? I hate that. I always bring my charger with me because I'm scared that I need my phone and my phone is dead, you know? So that's a little bit convenient. Overall, it made my heart pound. This girl, man, she has a really big will to live. So I really enjoyed that one. I gave it 4 stars. Last book that I read in April. Am I talking fast? I feel like I'm talking faster than usual, but the last book that I read in April, if you watched my previous video, you know maybe what it is. It is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I gave this one 5 stars, and I enjoy this way more than the Grisha trilogy. And the main reason why is because this has multiple POVs. I wish that the Grisha trilogy had multiple POVs because we see everything through Alina's eyes, even Mao. And that's the big thing, because a lot of people hate Mao. Most of the people hate Mao because he is seen through the eyes of Alina, and we don't really see him, what he is dealing with, you know? And I think the show did a great job with that. But, you know, at the end of the day, we don't know if Shadow and Bone show Mal is the same as book Mal, you know? But I wish it was multiple POV because I really enjoyed this one because of that. I mean, one of the reasons I really enjoy this one is because of the multiple POVs. I love each and every one of these characters. I am happy that I read this one while I was watching the show because I saw a lot of dialogue that was in the book in the show, you know, especially between Nina and Matthias. This is the story of a group of thieves who are sent on a mission to go get this guy at the ice court in Fjerda, and obviously for money. They're not going to do it for free, obviously. But this guy basically has created this drug called Jurda Parem, and this drug is able to enhance Grisha powers, and it's very dangerous for Grisha. So they are assigned to go get this guy, and you know, this is an impossible place to get into. It's the ice court. It's a big prison. So it's a heist, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's really about the relationships between the characters though, and I want to reread this book, but first I have to read Cricket Kingdom first. I couldn't see these people as 17-year-olds or 16-year-olds. Matthias was, I think, 18, and he felt like he was 40. I don't know if it was the voice in the audiobook, but yeah, I'm definitely aging up these characters in my mind. I really love the found family trope. It's like one of my favorite tropes ever now, and 5 stars. Those are all the things that I read, all the books that I read in April. I didn't watch any movies, I think I've already said that, but I didn't, and I watched Shadow and Bone. I'm not going to talk about it in this video. I enjoyed it. I give it 5 stars. If I was going to, you know, rate it, I enjoyed it more than the trilogy. But if you want to know my in-depth thoughts, it's the video before this one. I will link it down below and put it in the cards, and that's it. Oh, I watched Dancing with the Devil by Demi Lovato. It's her documentary series on YouTube. So is it a show? I don't know. It's a documentary on YouTube, and I'm not gonna rate it, obviously. It's her life, and the main thing that she talks about is her overdose 2 years ago, I believe, 3 years ago, and her dealing with that. Wow, she's been through a lot. It's also about her eating disorder, her relationship with certain people, what these people have done to her, and I'm not gonna rate it, obviously, but it was really heavy. I cried a bit. So yeah, those are the things that I've watched this month. How was your April? Let me know down below. What was your favorite read? And thanks for watching. Like this video. I never say this. Like this video if you enjoyed this video. But yeah, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.